What's up, guys? How you doing today? I have another game for you, and this is a best of 3 series that was played during the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final. In the Monthly Final, the top 8 from the weekly tournaments are participating, and in the semi-final of that tournament, we had a pretty cool match actually. A best of 3 between Arthas and NaVi. And I looked it up because I personally thought that NaVi was ahead, winning 2 of the 3 games that they played so far, and actually I was wrong. Arthas was able to win 2 of the maps, and of course you all remember probably the game that we had already on the channel, which was the first one where Arthas just blew NaVi away. NaVi didn't stand a chance because they didn't really know about that blood for blood combo and were totally not prepared for it. But then NaVi came back, but still the record is currently in favor of Arthas, and this is now a best of 3 series where a lot of money is on the line. If you reach the finals, even if you don't win the finals, you come in second place, which grants you €200. So that's quite a bit for like a weekly tournament. So in this case now we're going into map number 1, and already Arthas just like starting to shake things up a little bit. They're very unlikely these days to really get their blood for blood combination against teams anymore because of the picks and bans, and everybody kind of knows what they're aiming for. So this time they have a different composition, and that's not only with Lost Vikings, but they're also running Nova here, which we see a bit more again these days, but it's still always awesome to see our girl. So guys, we're going to go into game number 1 between Arthas and NaVi here at the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final to find out who's going to take the lead in the series. Welcome everybody to our first game in the semi-final at the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final, a best of 3 series, and we have cursed Khaldor, our first map between NaVi and Team Arthas, the Russians. To the right side and to the left we have NaVi with Breeze on Diablo, Splendor on Uther, Eternal on Sylvanas, Celium playing Illidan, and Shwimpy on Tyrande. To the right side it's Stalk on Muradin for Arthas, Andilendi on the Lost Vikings. Interesting to actually see Andilendi on the Lost Vikings and not Kunichan. He is playing Rega, Sefkaja on his Nova, and Unstable on Vala. This is already an extremely cool draft or cool start into the game in general for several reasons. First of all, it's of course always nice to see that girl over here, Sefka, on his horse, and especially on his Nova. This is going to be pretty cool. And one of the things that I also like was also already in the draft, where we had as the last pick for NaVi, them going straight for good old Uther, but they were waiting very, very long for the pick, and I asked them later, because I was already like theorizing in the draft screen a bit about them possibly going for Tassadar and just trying to run Tyrande as a single healer. And they confirmed that. I actually asked why they waited this long, what the alternative for them was, and they said, yeah, we were thinking about getting Tassadar instead, but with Illidan there, they decided that they needed a healer, and I personally agree with that a lot. If you have Uther there for the Divine Shield and also for the heals, it's extremely strong. When you have Tassadar, you just lack that a bit, but it's definitely something that people have been experimenting with a bit. Down to the bot lane, that's where we're currently seeing Sefkaja on his good old Nova here, and the Nova talent of course on level 1 is the ambush snipe, no surprise there. Muradin, an interesting pick also on the side of Arthas. They took him after they saw that an Illidan comp was being played by NaVi, and the reason is quite simple. With the reverberation talent on level 1, Muradin is a great counter pick against Illidan. You're just trying to get close to Illidan, you use your thunderclap and you slow down his attack rate, which is pretty much what you always try to depend on. Oh, the snipe actually missing in this case. Celio moving back in the same instant too, and using his shadow shield there. Oh, up to the top lane. There's still the Lost Vikings, Andilendi playing them together with Kunichan, trying to push all of this back. Regarding the talent choices, we're seeing for Vala the multi-shot build here. We have a couple of variation on that build. Up to the top lane, the first of the Lost Vikings actually going down here. Once again, Soul Feast as the level 1 talent on the Soul tank that we are seeing for NaVi, and a lot of aggression up at the top. Sylvanas, of course, a very highly favored pick by a lot of teams these days, and you can already see why, especially with the pressure at the early game. You can do a lot. Like, you can really push an opponent back, get an early tower, slightly inexperience, and then maybe win one of those tributes a bit faster. Down here, Stalk and Breeze fighting against each other. We're having a tribute at the bot lane, level 4 for both of them. And in this case, it is the full Thunderclap build apparently on the side of Muradin. Here comes that snipe against Eternal, but the heal is immediate. There's the Thunderburn in this case. Andilendi jumping in. There's the healing wall already. Shwimpy needs to be careful. Here comes the stun. But Kunichan tries to go for Eternal, and with a haunting wave, Sylvanas escapes. No harm, no foul. Well done here. And tower number 2 is nearly dead as well. To the bot lane, we saw Team Arthas go straight for the tribute, and they were able to get it. There were no rotations from Navi. Instead, Selim is now trying to apply some pressure on Stable, but he misjudged a bit, needs to move back there, and lost a lot of hit points in the process. The rotation to the top lane is now supposed to put some pressure onto Arthas in this situation. We're having the amplified healing taken on Diablo, since he wants to make sure that as the soul healer, or soul tank of the team, he can sustain a bit more. Shrimpy is also going for healing ward here. We've been talking about that already at the top lane, with Splendor prioritizing his protective shield on level 4, which makes a lot of sense. Like, he is going to be like, on him, the entire success of Illidan is going to hinge a lot, with the heals, with the shield, the divine shield there. So that's going to be really important. Stalk is starting to jump in. Unstable is in position. Shrimpy is in trouble, trying to move away, and he barely gets away. But Eternal with the Haunting Wave, yes, also able to move back. Sefkaja on Nova is just always in position to get another snipe in, and or a pinning shot, and that does a lot of work. Breeze actually switched out to the top lane, so you can really see the idea behind what Navi does here. Take down the wall, rotate the tri-lane somewhere else, and try to take down another wall. And of course, from the mid lane on, they can also rotate towards the tributes a lot faster, which is exactly what they're doing now. We're having them already down here, trying to go for the next tribute. Follow through, the level 7 talent is there. Here comes the snipe from Sefka. He doesn't have his level 7 talent yet. There we go. And this is, of course, the anti-armor shells, which help him to do a lot more damage. Eternal gets healed, needs to move back just a step with the Haunting Wave out of the reach of Stalks. Stormbolt. Stalk needs to jump away once more, but Illidan was taking down Vala at the same time, so already a win for Navi right there. 1.5 kills for them, and with Vala out of the picture, looks like Shrimpy is going to get the tribute, and there it is. The top lane still with Breeze going up against Andilendi's Eric. Only one of the Lost Vikings is there, the rest of them is trying to hold the mid lane, but currently Navi is able to get a bit of a lead experience. Sefkaja down here is very much isolated. He's not gonna make it. Nova down already, and Kuni-chan the only one to escape from this situation. As you can see here, we have Eternal already in a position where he can start to maybe put some pressure on the wall. Andilendi's moving in for the extra experience. Yeah, to the top lane we're having Breeze still holding the XP on the lane, going for that heartbeat. And of course, with him now also having battle momentum, he can get his stuns in a bit more often. But so far they're more than half a level ahead, and they're in a really good position here. With them even trying to go for the next camp, and that's the hard camp now, the Bruiser camp that they are going to take with Celium and Shrimpy. No rotations towards that camp yet from their opponents. Haunting Wave being used by Eternal to get away here. And Sefkaja and the rest of the Russian team really starting to apply the pressure. Both of the towers out of ammunition, and that is something that they use right away to take down one of the towers, even try to go for the second one. Stalk is there, battle momentum taken, and with the multi-shot build, they're starting to push this back. Nice stun there. And here comes the Haunting Wave to put Eternal into another good position with Sylvanas and applying a bit more pressure. Sefkaja, of course, with another hologram there. Not really too threatened, but the level 10 talent, that is changing things quite a bit. If you have your heroic ability, then you can do a whole lot here, and that's exactly what they're doing. We're having currently up to the top lane, or let's say between the two lanes at the top, we're having another tribute channel, and that's tribute number 2. Down to the bottom, Celium versus Kuni-chan. Rhaegar, not really minding too much. I mean, right here we're having 6:30 into the game, we're having Divine Shield, Wailing Arrow, Metamorphosis, and Starfall. And level 13, that's where we are also going to see that 1.5 healer for Navi, since Shrimpy is going to get the Overflowing Light talent on his Tyrande, and that does a lot of heal when you are pretty high. Oh, Andilendi losing one of the Lost Vikings. They're really trying here. There's, by the way, a Bruiser camp that's currently being taken. Stalk is there. They are still soaking experience at the top lane, and that's the power of the Lost Vikings, of course. They have level 10 now as well. We're seeing Strafe, Ancestral Healing, no triple tap, but instead Precision Strike, which is the common talent that you see in competitive game by most of the players. It depends a bit on the composition that you run, but there are some cases where you would go for triple tap, but besides that, it's more of a public build. Right now, Breeze is in trouble, but it is Stalk that jumps jumps away and dies in the last second. So another kill for Navi. They need to move Diablo out of harm's way, and they do exactly that and kill Belok as well. Another one of the Lost Vikings already down. And this is tribute number 3. This would curse the Russian team, and it looks very much like that's exactly what's going to happen. They're trying to move down with Sevkaj on his Nova, and he should be able to get a shot in, and does exactly that, but the rest of the team is already on the way, so I don't really see a big problem for them capturing that one tribute, and that's going to put the curse on them and also bring them a whole lot of hurt. Breeze is moving in together with the rest of the team. They're trying to rotate, by the way, like the Russians, that is, up to the top. Team Arthas with an attempt to get Boss, and Tyrande with the Owl is immediately there. So they're gonna get the boss. No, they're maybe not Splendor and the rest of the... Yeah, they're gonna get the boss, but there is the counter boss that they're trying to get. Basically what Navi figures is that, alright, if they take the boss at the top, we can still push the lanes with the waves that we have. But if we don't take our boss, what they are going to do is they're going to take theirs, and then they're going to move down to the bot lane, try to aim for ours. If we fight them, their boss is going to do a whole lot of damage, and we can't really do anything because we cannot rotate out of the fight. If we don't fight them and defend against the boss, they will just take the second one, and then we're in trouble as well. So right now we're having them right here at the top lane, starting to push in. There is, in this case, from the shadows taken. Sylvanas is going for Spell Shield instead of Cold Embrace. The bot lane, that's where they're waiting for the boss to deal with that. But in the mid lane, that's where we are suddenly seeing Navi again, and they're already starting to push in with the Overflowing Light taken here. We have a Shrink Ray on the side of Uther, not going for the Spell Shield that we see quite often. And a missed Stormbolt by Stork here. They're waiting for a position in this engagement, but they're also having Nova in the spot where she's just coming back from the boss defense attempt, but that is not going to work for them. Here comes the Precision Strike, not doing as much as they were hoping for, and the immediate healing ward is there too. Breeze is rotating back for now, the Starfall helping them with a disengage. Boss takes Fort at the top, and down to the bot lane, we still have it pressuring the keeps. So, yeah, right there they are. We're having also in regards to the damage, if you're looking at it, 26,000 on Sylvanas. Very much the highest damage dealer in the game right now. Vala is a close second with 23,000, and the team is losing one again. So right now, as you can see, we're having up to the top lane. That's currently the move. We have the boss trading a fort for a fort. They didn't lose a keep just yet, which is pretty much it. The curse actually didn't do as much damage as you would want from the perspective of Navi, but it of course allowed them to just take the wall in the mid lane, take the ball at the bottom, put a bit of pressure onto the keep over here. So it's more of a positional thing than anything else. The two bosses were taken now on the map too. But yeah, besides that, good defense from the Russian team. Did lose, of course, their fort in the mid lane and also the fort in the bot lane. That's something that they couldn't really avoid. With their own boss, they were at least able to take the one to the top, and if they are starting to push in again, they might be able to get this one in the middle as well. But right now, we're having the Russians taking the camps on the map, just with the rotations. Problem for them is that they didn't really get a kill yet, but at least they're on the same level now. With a Frost Shot, we're also seeing the Lethal Decoy, the Healing Surge, and another talent for the Thunderclap. In this case, it is the Thunder Strike. So if they can fight on even talents, that would be great for them. They're only half a level behind, and 11 minutes into the game, that's not too bad. They're putting pressure on the bot lane with a quick rotation here. That's going to give them more experience, and this could be a trade where they get one, or well, not really a trade since there's nothing that's being pushed by Navi, but they could put some pressure on this, especially with those siege golems. But we're having them moving back now, apparently not willing to take the fight just yet, waiting for that setup that could help them with this. And of course they also need to deep push not only the mid lane, but the top. So map control is right now everything, and the only other objective besides the tribute on the map is that bruiser camp over here. They are very likely to let that go, since the position is really bad for Arthas to get this one, and Shrimpy just captures it. It's a first tribute for them, so it's really not a tribute that they need to get. Team Arthas, that is. Instead, they're just moving in and use that. Oh, once again, we're having the push just right there. Well, not quite.
We are blessed.
Here comes Navi, moving in, stealing that camp away. Vala, by the way, with a bit of split push experience at the top lane, needs to be back, and she does that. A quick vault to safety, and then moving straight for that. They really need her, and they need her now. Andilen is about to lose the first one of his Vikings. Stork already had to jump away. And here comes Unstable with a Frost Shot, using that already, moving straight into it. And the level 60 talent is just perfectly ready in time for the next fight. Cold Embrace, this time the talent being used for Sylvanas. Actually, I think I mentioned earlier that Sylvanas took Spell Shield over Cold Embrace. That was of course a pretty big brain fart. She took it over Evasive Fight, which is one of the talents that you would normally take on Sylvanas when you're not really afraid from your opponent's burst damage. But with a Nova against you, or a Jaina, a lot of people will make the decision to go into the Spell Shield instead and not use the Evasive Fire, which gives you the extra movement speed. So right now we have Blood for Blood, 2 Blood for Bloods on the level 16 for the Russian team. We're having them also with a double fake, and they're moving in immediately. Stork is being just used in the last second. They use the Ancestral Healing for that. Breeze nearly focused down, but Stork dies first on his Muradin. A nice strafe by Unstable, but it might not be enough. The Longbolt already moved out. Sefka down on Nova, and a few of the Vikings are dead as well. Bam, everybody just dying. This is not looking pretty at all for Arthas. NaVi is taking them apart one by one and can now simply move into the mid lane and start to take the keep here as well. In this first game at least, they are looking really strong. NaVi with 7 kills against 0, a level ahead and without a problem in the world to take the keep. Let's see how much more they can do here. The third on Sylvanas with the Black Arrow is of course disabling that instantly, and without the keep even shooting, you can't slow the opponent down, you can't really catch them out. Job well done. They move back. There are 2 bosses on the map now that they can take, and the next tribute would also put a second curse onto Team Arthas. So this is a really bad spot that Arthas is in right now. In terms of healing, you can really tell that now with the Overflowing Light on level 13, Tyrande, in addition to the healing ward that she has, is doing an amazing job. The problem is that we are having that boss attempt contested. They're moving in already, and with that they are in trouble. Unstable gets the Ancestral Healing here. The strafe is being used again but doesn't hit anything. More of a disengage than anything else. The problem is that apparently NaVi is really determined to get the boss here. They don't really care about that they are fighting on the same talents. Nice attempt to go for the precision strike, not working out though, as suddenly Muradin dies. Everybody on the side of Arthas is really low. Breeze jumps in, he's trying to go for Rhaegar, and they will get him easily. I mean, they're putting him into a bad spot already, and Celium on his Illidan would have been able to take him down regardless. So at this point, they're just going for the boss. Only thing that Arthas can do is capture out the tribute to the bot lane, and Andilendi with Eric is already trying to do that. Problematic is that they will not only lose this boss, but the next move from NaVi is going to be to walk to the bottom left, take boss number 2, and then push with this one, and that will drop the bottom forward. So Arthas is in a bit of a lost situation. The only thing that they could do was capture the tribute, and they did, but now they have to defend against the boss at the top lane. That will create space for NaVi to take the boss at the bottom lane, and with that they can then push in. They have level 18 versus 17. Benediction has been taken here. We're having the Shooting Star taken on level 16 as well. And this is just a really bad situation for Arthas. What they need to do now is just defend, try to lose as little as possible, hope for the best, hope that there's no timing now for NaVi with another tribute on the map. It's very likely though that the tribute is going to appear any second now, and there it is. There it is already, and if they take the tribute, then they should be easily able to do damage with the boss. But I like that Arthas is actually moving out to meet the boss. They already realized what would happen there, so they move out, try to put as much damage on it as they can. But the reaction from NaVi is instantaneous. They move to the top lane because they know that Arthas will be busy at the bot. So just the positioning factor that we're having. They're going straight for the keep here. So it's a really bad spot for Arthas. They are about to lose the keep at the bot lane if they don't defend against the boss, so they have to take care of it. But that results in them losing the top keep instead. 2 of their lanes are down. And NaVi, they don't want to risk anything. They're already moving back. They have level 19 versus level 17 in a bit, so there's no reason for them to risk anything at all. They're just gonna rotate over the map, take all of the mercenary camps, wait for level 20, and with level 20 try to force another team fight. And they will have a great 20 as well. I mean, the talents that they are going to get are going to be extremely nice for them. Very mobile, and especially Sylvanas. We could see them even with the Deafening Arrow instead of the Bolt of the Storm. Illidan, of course, could either go Bolt Vault, Demonic Form, or even Nexus Blades, the way that they are playing this right now. But they still use that curse. They have another 20 seconds, and they seem to be determined to take the keep at the bot lane now as well. So the Russians here, their comp not really working out for them. Whole idea was to just get a level advantage with the Lost Vikings and the damage in the game. They didn't really get that, and to keep Illidan low with not only taking Rhaegar away from him, but also going for Muradin, which would have allowed them to use Reverberation against him. But yeah, that equation didn't really work out, especially Nova not really in a position to do as much damage as they were hoping for. If you're looking at Tyrande, if you're looking at Sylvanas, you can apply so much pressure, but they were never really able to make that happen. Currently we're having Zefka, who's by the way playing in general an amazing Nova, only on 24,000 damage. That's not a whole lot if you compare that to Tyranda's damage, who's already on 27,000. Diablo's on 27,000, we have 52,000 on Sylvanas. The keep is destroyed, and that's the last keep, and the 20 talents are of course ready now with the double bolt of the Storm. Nexus Blades here on the side of Illidan, the Storm Shield for Tyrande over a potential rewind, and Uther, Redemption is an option, Bulwark of Light is another one that he could go for. Both of them very, very popular. And yeah, they're going straight for the rotation up to the top lane. I'm not quite sure what they are waiting for. Apparently they're trying to set up a bit of a trap. If that works, that would be great, but I feel like they can really just start to force a fight. Problematic is that if they wait too long, they're going to be up against the level 20 of Arthas. We have a couple of really cool talent for Arthas on level 20, so it's not like they are not able to really do a lot of damage with that 20. There it is. We are seeing, of course, immediately the rewind on Nova. One Storm Shield on Rhaegar. Rewind also on Muradin. So that's actually a lot that they get there. They get a double snipe, they get a double pinning shot, they have double Thunderclap and also Storm Bolt, which is great for them. And Ragnarok and Roll should be the talent level 20 for the Lost Vikings. I'm surprised that we didn't see that just yet. For Vala, it's the mobility that they have on the map, so it's very, very solid. The next team fight, I mean, let's be honest here for just a second. So if Team Arthas wins, for example, the next team fight, and they win it with like 2 or 3 additional kills, then they can actually come back into this game. They don't have a keep left, and that's the biggest problem. Once you're 20 versus 20, everything else that happened before, except for the keeps, doesn't really matter anymore. You're gonna fight with your opponent on eye level regarding talents, and that is the most important part. Wow! No Ragnarok and Roll, but instead the Fury of the Storm taken for the Vikings. I haven't seen that yet, I have to admit. But yeah, it's all about the team fights now. But of course, the core being this exposed, the core of the red team, that's the biggest problem here. And, well, if they get the tribute, if they can win the team fight, Arthas just needs to win this team fight, get the curse, their lanes would automatically push everything back that Navi has, and then they could start to take down structures. They wouldn't be able to win the game on top of that one fight, but still, they could maybe even take a keep if they're fast enough. But first of all, they have to win the fight. Andy Landy is moving in already, going for the spin to win here. We're having immediately Schwippy about to fall, and he's already dead. Here comes the Apocalypse, but they are fighting a 4 versus 5 right now. Here comes the longboat. Oh, Vala and Rhaegar dead way too fast. And just look at Navi. They have so much sustain here, dropping Nova now as well. Andy Landy is determined to take down Sylvanas, but unlikely to succeed as Splendor heals her out. 4 heroes dead. They don't even bother with the tribute. They're like, why would we capture that? The only thing that achieves is we lose time. There's already a big push towards the core that is starting to lose hit points here. And this is, of course, going to be game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to Navi. They win the first map in the best of 3 series here against Team Arthas at the ZOTAC Cup. And we're going to jump into game number 2 to see who's going to take the next one. And Navi takes it on the first map on Cursed Hollow. Pretty cool play here by Navi, actually, playing this really well against Arthas. And that Nova never really got that damage in, so it was a bit unfortunate for Zefka that he couldn't really get that pressure up. But of course, also the rotation that we see here from Navi were very good. So they start with a 1-0 into the best of 3 series, but of course they need to win another map, and Arthas is not a team that you should take lightly. So at this point, the Russians, they could still take it if they went
2 maps in a row now. Dragonshire is the next map, and in terms of compositions, we have more standard compositions now on the second map, but still a few heroes that you don't see all that often. One of them, for example, being Falstad, which is chosen by Arthas in this particular match right now. And the Russians actually play the hero a bit more than other teams, and usually also with a few variations on the build itself. So game number 2 coming up here on Dragonshire, and let's find out if Arthas is able to tie the series up, or if Team NaVi is going to take the best of 3 with a 2-0.
Game number 2, boys, in the ZOTAC Cup semi-final. We have our match between NaVi and Team Arthas. As you can see right now, we are on Dragonshire, and to the left side we are seeing the Russian team. Arthas with Stork on ETC, Sefkaja on Rega. We have Unstable on Sergeant Hammer, Kunichan on Illidan, and Andy Lendy playing Falstad. To the right side of the map it is NaVi. They are currently in the lead in this best of 3 series, with Breeze playing Muradin, Splendor on Brightwing, Celium again on Vala, Eternal on Sylvanas as in the last game, and Tassadar is played by Schwimpy. So once again we're having Reverberation taken as the number 1 talent on Muradin to counter out Illidan. This time it's opposite sides though. Illidan is being played now by Arthas, and we're seeing Muradin run by NaVi. Regarding the talents, we're having Block not used on ETC, but instead the Scouting Drone. You oftentimes see that these days when you are running a map where you really want to have the extra vision and you want to be safe with ganks, and that's the case right here. Mid lane fights already with a 4 versus 4. Heroes splitting off to the bot lane and to the top, with Muradin and Illidan not participating in the fight just yet. And we're having also a bit of a change on the side of Brightwing, who did go for the Shield Dust here, which is not really a talent that you see too often, but in this case it's actually the one that they are running with. I'm also pretty interested to see the build that we're seeing for Falstad, because oftentimes when Falstad is played by the Russian team, they're starting to change things up a bit. Eternal already making sure that those 2 towers are not going to do anything. Moving in with the damage, and yeah, that's the tri-lane approach again with Sylvanas, where we're having NaVi just taking down towers, and I think as soon as they get the wall, they're probably trying to just rotate the tri-lane towards the middle so that they can get even more structures and establish a lead in experience. Andy Lendy has to be extremely careful here, and I don't really envy him his position in this case. Andy Lendy now up at the top lane, going straight for the moves here. Well, it's already down. He needs to retreat, and the first tower is already gone. But the problem is, if he moves back now, they're going to lose out on experience, and that's going to happen any second now. Besides that, bottom shrine is taken by the blue team. He moves out. There's nobody to rotate in for him, and that's a problem. He can fly in, so they shouldn't lose too much, but that's always a bit annoying there. Brightwing with his again. Oh, there's Andy. Yeah, he's already back, so nice timing here. Didn't lose any creeps at all, but it looks like Celium and NaVi are not really interested in rotating that to the mid lane and taking down another tower. They're aiming not only for well, but they are apparently really trying to push that lane in, aren't they? Both of the shrines are already under their control. To the bot lane, we're having Breeze going up against Kunichan, and he's actually looking pretty good against Illidan here. Illidan has to jump out, and now Eternal is putting the extra pressure on Andy Lendy, and with Venom on level 4, that is also pretty easy for them. The talent on Falstad is gathering power, by the way, so not the alternative build that he sometimes goes for on this Falstad, but the pressure at the top lane is pretty significant. I mean, Stork is even rotating and saying like, hey buddy, I think you need some help there, and that's definitely true. Stork, on the other hand, is nearly dead. Eternal jumps into the wall. That's not where he wants to be, but they keep him alive. Brightwing heal OP, at least in this case, and that keep, or that fort, is under so much pressure. They're definitely gonna get that. And yep, there it is. So they take it down easy as, and they're going also for Andy Lendy, but they're not getting the kill. In the mid lane, 2 of the towers are down. This is where we are seeing Team Arthas doing work. To the bot lane, suddenly we're having a 2-for-2 in this situation, just like trying to get so far Splendor out of that. Splendor jumping in to help Breeze out, but now also Illidan is rotating in, and Breeze has to jump away there. So the rotations are starting to happen now that the top lane is completely taken out. Level 7 will hit a bit faster for NaVi thanks to the extra fort that they eliminated. But still, we are having also Arthas doing quite some work. So of course extremely annoying if you are on the Sergeant Hammer and then suddenly there comes a Brightwing with the polymorph and always moves you out of your tank mode. Oh, unstable! Gets ganked by Celium, Breeze and Splendor, and Kunichan just rotates in a bit too late. But we have a fly-in from Andilendi. He's trying to save the lane. Shrimpy is jumping in now too, and that's something that they apparently didn't see coming here. Andilendi getting very low, and the multi-shot on Vala nearly dropping him, but Falstad gets away for now. Andilendi calling it a very close fight several times right now. Level 7 by now for both of the teams with a double first aid on Illidan and Sergeant Hammer. Looking at the talents that we are seeing for Navi, we're still seeing the Piercing Bolt on level 7 for Muradin, but of course they get the Dragon Knight there. With so many heroes of Arthas moving back to heal up, Dragon Knight is easy for them. So they get him. He's got the dragon and they are moving in with that now, as down to the bot lane we're already having Splendor get the experience. They have nobody at the top lane, but they're just getting towers. A nice burst against Shrimpy though. That Dragon Knight doesn't really have a lot of hit points left. Nobody to the top lane, that's also because there's not really a whole lot to kill. If you want to go for a new structure, you have to go very deep, and they don't really want to do that. Brightwing is looking for friends again, not realizing that nobody really likes him, and that his nickname Shitwing is not for nothing. Like, sorry dude, but you are just not a popular person. So he's still looking for them though. Vala taken out. Eternal. Oh, the Haunting Wave. What? Yes. No. Nah. This is just such a bad spot. Like, if you're there and you think you made your escape and suddenly two jump in to take you on. Oh, nice rotation from Arthas now. Trying to go for Splendor too. And they're getting him. Yeah, that's when that's what happens, Brightwing, when you're looking for friends. You just meet very shady people and they get you in a dark alley and then 5 on them against one of you. Yeah, that's not gonna be too healthy for you. But well, Brightwing is probably not gonna learn. We're gonna look for friends. Brightwing is an optimist. Let's just be honest. He's not only a drug bird, but also an optimist, and sometimes it just comes through. It's actually a nice. It's a nice trait. It's a really, really nice character trait, and we shouldn't make too much fun of it. But yeah. So Shrimpy at the bottom lane is trying to at least pressure the lanes once more, and of course also the structures here. They get level 10 a bit faster with the Wailing Arrow, Avatar. We have again Strafe. Shrimpy really, sorry, not Shrimpy, but Celium really liking his Strafe. And Stalk trying to get Tazda out. Tazda gets away actually. Wow. There's the 10. With that ultimate, they could have taken down Shrimpy here. But unfortunately for them, they didn't get the chance to do that. As you can see already, we're having Andilendi, Stalk, and Unstable in position. Up to trying to get Splendor down here. One tower down, second tower. I like the pressure in this game. Both of the teams are really starting to put in the work, taking down the structures and starting to push that in. Only one fort has been eliminated, but that also means that there's a little bit more experience on the map for Team Arthas to take. The shrines are activating again, and considering that we already saw a Dragon Knight and a fort for Team Navi, they are not really too far ahead. Actually, they're only a few experience points ahead. I guess that's not really the point where they want to be in. We're having to the top lane here also a pretty big push with the Bruiser camp that was taken earlier by Navi. Of course, ETC has to move in with the stage dive, and he will have to do that pretty soon because Breeze wants to engage, already jumps in. Here comes the stage dive. Metamorphosis is immediately being used by Kunichan, jumping in, but he gets attacked. Stalk eating all the damage that we're seeing from Celium, but he gets healed by the Ancestral Healing in the last second. Really well done here. Also stunned out the Strafe, which was extremely important, but they're getting the silence against 3 heroes. The Stormbolt drops Falstad, and they're still starting to follow this up. Taking not only the shrine, but moving straight for this fort as well. Of course, with a 4 versus 5 situation, the rotation to the top lane for shrine number 2 is happening immediately as we see Tassadai move in over there, but the rest of the team is going straight for the fort, and with that siege giant camp behind them, they can execute a lot of pressure against it. Might not be able to kill it, but they're at least putting in the work. Suddenly Stalk is there with a quick power slide, but he doesn't get the face melt in to push them into the fort. Eternal already jumping away, and the disengage is there, but the Dragon Knight just in time up to the top lane. Shrimpy was trying to rival Kunichan's position. He should be able to get away there. Storm is there, covering the retreat. Couldn't have gone for well since he was already in cooldown, but I don't think Illidan knew that. So Breeze is there, trying to do his thing. And at the bot lane, they're just there to finish the job. They're going to have the 13 talent in just a bit, and it's not going to take too long. Suddenly, they're starting to jump in once more. There it is. Getting one structure, getting two. That should be 13 right now, right? Yeah, kill that tower, kill it, baby, come on. Oh yeah, that's my girl. Alright, level 13 for them, and that's of course not only Frost Shot, it's Sprint on Brightwing here. They're having them with a Distortion Beam, a lot of slope on their side. Tassadar not going for Prescience on level 13, and we're having Evasive Fire. Mobility is key for Navi in this situation. A lot of slows, a lot of like talents where they can slow the opponent or speed themselves up. So it's all about the mobility on level 13, and that Dragon Knight is, yeah, just as agile as a gorilla, I want to say. Hammering down on those walls and just using that battle axe of his. Up to the top lane, Illidan didn't give a rat's ass about that Dragon Knight. He's just started to get the experience for this team, push that in, didn't even take that last shot against the tower, but I guess the creeps will do that for him. So they have the 13 talent at last, and oh, the shield here on Falstad with a static shield for him. And Sergeant Hammer for the Giant Killer to supply the extra damage later on in the fight. They're moving in once more. Unstable. Here comes the stage dive. Kuni-chan drops before he can get healed, and ETC is just blown to pieces. The double kill right at the beginning of the fight, and Celio moving in to take down Unstable. They get 3 kills for 0, and so far it's 5 kills versus 3 in total. And guess what's on the menu next? It is Chicken. The bird is being attacked, needs to heal up and move away, but with that fort or the keep now attacked, he kind of needs to do something. Gonna wait for that hammer. The problem is if Breeze jumps in and stuns him out, and it's gonna be Chicken and Dog. I mean, China or what? For food. Well, there we go, and nope, not just yet. It's actually like a little bit like Animal Farm what we're seeing for Arthas here. They have a cow, they have a dog, they have a bird. It's actually like pretty interesting, I feel. And they have a tank. I'm not quite sure how that combines, but regardless, we have once again Kuni-chan jumping in with the Metamorphosis, maybe overdoing it a bit here. Nice move against Breeze, getting a lot of the damage, and Breeze actually jumping away from that, but they're still low, but so is Arthas. They're still getting the Napalm Strike in. Splendor sprinting away, and thanks to the mobility that they have, especially with Celium supplying the slow on the Frost Shot, they're able to make it to the well, heal themselves, and now they are still in a decent position, especially since they are about 2 level ahead, and that will also give them level 16 very, very soon. They killed the keep in the mid lane. That was the most important part. Taking the keep down, of course, absolute key here. And when it comes to damage, Vara is just showing the boys how it's done. Sergeant Hammer, and the girls as well. Sergeant Hammer here not nearly with enough. Oh, and Kuni-chan very much alone on the top. Oh, another Storm Bolt, and wow, the kill in the last second by the Wailing Arrow. Job well done. Andy Lendy apparently has a bit of a suicide wish there. They were about to grant it when he suddenly remembered that life is worth living after all and moved back, because that would have hurt a lot. Yeah, in the mid lane, Stock is also trying to supply some extra experience. He might have to use a stage dive to get away there. I mean, Sefka is moving in on his dog. Ah, there we go. Jumps away. Where did he jump to? Back to the well. Back home to Mama. Healing up the hit points and going also for a few additional mana points there. Problematic is the 16 against level 14, because that supplies the extra talent for Navi, and they use that to control the mid lane after they took the shrines. And they even rotate so that Breeze gets the Dragon Knight and not Eternal. Putting the tank in makes a lot of sense. Oftentimes, especially when you're playing Hero League and quick matches, you have a lot of people that don't realize which hero should go for the Dragon Knight, and with their composition there was only one choice. I guess you can go and use Tassadar for the Dragon Knight, but it makes more sense to use Mirrodin for him here. So they move in, they have a Blood for Blood, they have an Imposing Crescent, the Sticky Powder being used over the Critterized talent that you oftentimes would go for. Again, mobility is key for them. We've been talking about it when we had a look at the level 13 talents, and Sticky Powder is no exception to that rule. Once more, they are moving in and they take down Keep number 2. Great play so far by Navi, and so far without the 16 talent for Arthas, the Russian team is in a lot of trouble here. They need that talent to really be able to contest a team fight, to just fight in a 5 versus 5 situation, and right now they don't really have that, and that's of course a bit weird. So they're trying to move in once again. We already have Breeze dropping out of the Dragon Knight in a few seconds. The 16 talent is nearly done, or nearly ready. There it is for the Russian team. But yeah, problem is that Navi isn't really done yet. So we're having for the Hinterland Blast, the Overdrive talent taken. Executioner is quite important as well now with the combo that they're playing. A double Stone Skin, since ETC decided to take it over the possible opposing presence. And also Rega with the Blood for Blood. Yeah, they are definitely going to try and rival that. In comes with Avatar Breeze, stuns Sefka out. Sefka trying to heal himself and they don't focus him. Oh, that was a bit of a mistake. That could have gone much better, but well, they get their kills regardless. The kill against Illidan, the kill against Sefka is a bit delayed, but they get it in, and they also took down ETC. So they shift the targets, took out the 2 melees, and didn't really get Sefka at the first try, but took him down at the second. Navi with great play here, and they are moving in once more. We have Andilendi and Unstable doing whatever they can to keep the core alive, but now the bird is down as well. Chicken for dinner, and Muradin dropped by the core is not going to change anything here. This is going to be a 2-0 victory for Team Navi against Arthas. The Russian team not strong enough today to take down Navi again. So Navi moves on to the grand final of the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final. Congratulations to them, and well played here on Dragonshire.
Really well played here by Navi. They take it with the 2-0, they win the game and therefore also the semi-final and advance to the grand final now. So congratulations to Navi, really well played here. And they're actually going up against Team Liquid next, a match that I'm going to upload to the YouTube channel probably tomorrow, the day after, so you can already look forward to that. That's also going to be a great one. I hope that you also enjoyed this video, and guys, if you did, then of course make sure that you just give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Put a comment into the comment sections, and guys, if you enjoy the coverage and also the games here on the channel, then of course subscribe to Khaldor TV on YouTube. I hope that you had a fun time with the games here. I'm gonna see you guys next time with more Heroes of the Storm on Khaldor TV. Bye bye.